We acknowledge and pay our respects to the Boon Wurrung and Woi Wurrung Wurundjeri peoples of the Kulin Nation people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we are virtually gathered today. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders here today.
Waiting on everything to fall right into place, but it won't. Time is a dangerous thing, 'cause at first it feels like you could have it all, and then it's gone. Weightless, as light as the air around me, I can't take this. I don't have the room to breathe, I can't face this. Heaven can't even hold me better now.
Well, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Nina, Patrick, Linden, Romeo, and everyone. Welcome to Transatlantic Suspended Edition. Let's kick off this season 3 in mid-air, light hanging above the earth, floating, withholding our thoughts, our body in slow motion. Let's just be here, present, suspended through space and time for the next hour or so. I will kick off today with Nina. Nina, good morning to you and good evening to us, but how are you?
I'm doing well. It's very early over here. I'm in Lake Placid, New York, my hometown, and happy to be here.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So Nina, introduce yourself just a little bit. You're a ski jumper. You live between, your hometown, Lake Placid, and Courchevel in France. And I'd love to talk about your childhood, because I think jumping for you runs in the family. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so the town that I'm from, Lake Placid, we held the Olympics in 1932 and 1980. And so I grew up, playing all kinds of sports, and grew up basically with skis on my feet. Skiing is a big part of my family. My parents actually met on the chairlift, and my grandma was an Olympic hopeful in alpine racing, and then my great-grandfather was very involved in figure skating, and he was actually from Switzerland and was then a figure skating coach and had a lot of success with that. So there's been a lot of sports in my family, and I guess it was only natural that I found ski jumping. I tried it with my younger brother, Miles. I was 8 years old, and he jumped with alpine skis, just went off a small jump, and basically was hooked from then on. And yeah, after that, I just wanted to jump off bigger and bigger jumps, and slowly made my way up. And I mean, it takes like really years of training before you learn to actually fly. But that moment is really special when you're on one of the big Olympic size hills, and you're actually staying off the ground for a while and in control of that. And so that's, I think, the best part of the sport.
Nice. Before we talk about what happened when you were 10 years old, because I think that's where the jumping the distance happened. Craig, when you're ready, we've got a little bit something about you, Nina.
It's so special. I've been jumping about 18 years, and I still it gives me butterflies to do it. But I think that's why we ski jump. We like the adrenaline and like to be a little bit scared. I'm Nina Lussi, age 26, born and raised Lake Placid, New York. I'm a professional ski jumper. I started ski jumping right here on the 20 meter. It was a Learn to Fly Wednesday. I don't think there are many places in the world that give you as many opportunities as Lake Placid. We hosted the Winter Olympic Games, and with that, that means there are all kinds of sporting opportunities. And as a kid, I think I tried every sport there is, and when I found ski jumping, that was basically it for me. The Lake Placid ski jumps have been great. These were the ones that were built for the 1980 Games, but as the sport has progressed, the ski jumps became a little bit outdated. It's been really great to see and feel the support from New York State. We've received a lot of funding. To me, these renovations mean that I can come home and ski jump without the fear that there's going to be a heat wave and the in-run's going to slide. This is the first time since 2009 that I've been able to jump on this large hill, and with the new ice tracks that they have, it's really pretty simple to prepare as long as the temperatures are cool enough. Hopefully next winter we're going to have the Olympic trials here in Lake Placid, and for me that means a lot. Leading up to the 2018 Games, I had a season-ending injury right before the Olympics, and now nearing the end of my career, I would love to win at home again. To see the jumps being updated and to feel it and to jump it is really awesome. It's been something that was talked about for a long time. I want to see Lake Placid on the national and also global radar for ski jumping. There aren't many places that have been able to make the transition from the past to the present in ski jumping, and I'm glad that Lake Placid is still up there.
Wow. Hey, Patrick, do you imagine having a parachute with the ski? So it all started at 10 years old. You did your first 90 meters, I think. Can you tell us the story? Because I think it's a nice story with your sister.
Yeah, so going back a few years, so I started when I was 8, and I took to the sport pretty quickly, and my younger brother and my older sister were both jumping too, and it was the end of the season, and I was jumping well, like enjoying it. We were jumping on the 48 meters, so it's about half the size of the 90, and my coach came up to me at the end of the session, it was in March, and he said, if you're feeling up to it, come join the big guys tomorrow on the 90. Take your time, think it over tonight, and if you're here in the morning, great. If not, congrats on a good year. And so I was like, okay. So I was pretty young, and so I went home, and I didn't really know what to do, and I didn't want to talk to my parents about it because they wouldn't understand because they weren't ski jumpers themselves. So I consulted my older sister, and we were outside walking back to my house, and I asked her, I was like, so Larry said, if I wanted, I can jump tomorrow. And she was like, I don't think you're ready. You should wait. And as soon as she said that, I was like, okay, decision made. I'm going. I'm jumping. You don't think I can do it? I'm doing it. And I think that's been telltale for kind of how the rest of my life, I guess, in and out of sport has been. And so I showed up to jump the next day, brought all my stuff, came into the changing room, was really overwhelmed because there's all these older, teenage boys getting ready, and I was the only girl there, and everyone was staring at me, so they didn't even know who I was because I was, a 10-year-old. And Yeah, but then they were really nice and showed me how to carry my skis up the side and where you walk, and where they held my skis as I put them on at the top. And it was really great though. The moment when I was out on the bar, looking down, waiting for my coach to give me the signal that the hill was free, I wasn't scared at all because I knew I trusted him, and I felt like I knew what I was doing when I was at the top. And so yeah, so I jumped, everything was fine, didn't go very far, but I really enjoyed it, and it was a really big moment for me because it proved to myself that I was like a true ski jumper. And yeah.
So, and since you had 4 national champions,
Yep.
and tell me one thing. So, 100k an hour downhill, launching yourself 30 meters in the air. My question is why?
Oh, there's no feeling like it. Like that's why nearing the end of my career, I'm nervous because I mean, I guess I could skydive or something, but it's not the same as like when I'm in the air jumping. It's really only me. I'm not touching anything else. I'm using my skis and my suit to just really fly. And it's not like every jump gives me the thrill, but it's like probably 1 in 50 or 1 in 100 that really make it worthwhile. And you have those one jumps where you do it technically right, but you're letting your body be free. And yeah, those jumps make it all worth it.
So, what's happening in your head before and during and after? I think we touched on it a little bit together, but what's in your head when when you are in the ramp and you're prepared for your jump, and what's going through your head?
Yeah, since you're moving so fast, and it's like kind of a technical sport, and the takeoff is a really important aspect.
Yeah.
So for me, when I'm at the top, when I'm getting ready to go, that's when I have to think about what I want to accomplish that jump. So I'll think of 1 or 2 technical points and repeat them to myself. It's better for me, I found, if I say them out loud. So it's like something to hold on to and, keep it short, like 1 or 2 words. And then once I get on the bar, that's when I want to kind of let go of the need to do exactly that. But since I said it out loud, I know it in my body. And so that's when you're jumping, you can't be trying to, get everything right. You just need to be going. And so that's kind of the tough thing, because the takeoff portion is only a few meters and you're moving so fast that you can guide yourself, but you can't control yourself. And so then you do the takeoff and you launch yourself into the air. And yeah, you need to stay present. You need to stay in the moment. You can't try to go quickly from the takeoff just to the flight. You need to allow the time for yourself to kind of catch the air and go up instead of just trying to fly. But you also want to maintain your speed. And so then when you're in the air, that's when you kind of have time to enjoy what you've created and just fly it out. And I mean, that's when you feel the reaction. That's like the really special part. And every hill is different, but a good jump is always a good jump.
So you were talking about the perfect harmony. What is that?
Yeah, it's about kind of what I was talking about where you know what you have to do and you trust what you know, but you can manipulate it a little bit, but not too much. So that's sometimes hard for me because I want to do it right, and I know exactly what I want to do. I can picture it in my mind, you do the imagery, and so you really should be able to do it, but you can't give yourself those restrictions. You kind of need to play with that idea and trust that you do know what you want to do. So I guess that's the control and the fluidity, I guess, are the 2 things that need to be working together.
Is there a moment where you have kind of a foyer, or you're kind of, is it when you are in the air, or is it, what's the thought there?
The thoughts. You're not really thinking too much. On the best jumps, it's like you're jumping, but you're not totally like super focused about exactly where you are. Your mind is kind of free, and you sometimes get random thoughts, even when you're like in the middle of the in-run, going so fast straight downhill. But you're just, happy to be there and just kind of, I don't know, loose. And yeah, that's pretty
Because
special.
you explained to me as well, you're not shooting, you're not jumping up, so you're jumping down. So and I was the first to believe that you were taking off, but no, you're not taking off, you're taking down. So kind of the
the takeoff, like the ramp is shooting you down at 12 degrees, but we need to kind of push ourselves, like put force down to propel ourselves out over our skis. That's what I was saying about trying to be quick to your flight, or letting the power develop and kind of finding that balance there. That's I think a pretty big challenge.
Two words that were that defines you: resilience and determination. Can you tell us why?
I think I've had my fair share of challenges, and through my career, I've come in contact with some people that maybe didn't quite believe that I had what it takes to really make it to the top. And so there's a lot of, with injuries or things that happened, like when I tore my ACL, I think some people thought, so that was at the Olympic trials in 2018, they thought that, I'd passed my prime and that I wouldn't really make it back to where I was. And so, yeah, I think it takes a lot of inner strength to be able to, silence the haters and believe in yourself. And of course, I have a good support system with my family and friends, but I spend so much time abroad that, it needs to come from within. That other stuff is helpful, but.
So what's next for you? What's 2022 is looking like?
22. It's been a wild year. Like since my knee injury, I've been really focused on the 22 Olympic Games. And as you saw in the video, I really wanted to win the Olympic trials here. And that was an amazing experience. But all these people came that like, it was Christmas Day, and so many people from the town, and like, because I grew up here, but I haven't lived here since I was 16. So it's like I'm a different person now, but they all came, and from the top of the jump, it was wild. Like the crowd was so loud, and it's in COVID times, we haven't been competing with a crowd. And it was televised on NBC, which is one of our major channels, which is special for ski jumping. And even the people that were videoing from the top, they're like, wow, you're really the favorite around here. And I was like, oh, I'm trying to stay calm. But it was really, I'm so glad that I got to experience that. It was heartbreaking to not show my best at that moment. And it ended up being a really hard few days now, as they named the team, and due to our nation's rules and how they grant the spots, unfortunately, the spot that I earned over the 2 years of international competitions, World Cups, that was given to somebody else. And yeah, it's tough. Like I know that I, helped my country, but selfishly, I wasn't as much in it for America as I was for myself. But it is how it is, and I'm trying to accept that and learn to see the bright side, and maybe this was another challenge that will help me later in life. So
what's happening in 2022? Is there, after the Beijing, what's on the card? Is there some World Championship in Europe, or?
There is the World Championships for ski flying for men, but that's only for men. So that's in Norway. But I have a tour of Känel Cups in North America, which is special because we don't really compete here at all. So that'll be Park City, Utah, Whistler, Canada, and finishing at the end of March in Lake Placid, New York. So
nice.
That feels like a sign, you know, like another chance on my home hill, and I'll be ready to celebrate with my family.
Well, we'll follow you. I will follow you, and I invite everyone to follow you as well on Instagram. Final question before what does suspended mean for you? And I mean, so when you are suspended in the air, and I ask you that, do you dream about not coming down and just?
Sure,
Have you ever dreamed about that at night? Like, you wake up and you're like, is that?
Yeah, I mean, I've had dreams where the hill just keeps going, and but suspended for me is the moment, like, it's so special because you are between two worlds, and you're kind of hanging between whatever, like in my case, like literally like the in run and the landing, but in other senses, I think that's the peaceful moment when time slows down and it's really like, but it wouldn't be suspended if you never landed, you know? It's about the moment and knowing that there will be an end and also a beginning. So I think ski jumping is actually a really great personification of the word.
Nice. Thank you so much. You're staying with us. I know it's early, but it's close to breakfast for you, so you can stay with us.
I'll be here if my screen goes blank. It's because I fell asleep.
Okay, we'll try not to.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Nina. Next on my list is Patrick. Patrick, how are you? You're on mute, my friend. Oh yeah.
Good, thanks. Here it's already more in the morning, so for the time it's good. We had already breakfast, so it's fine. Yeah, thanks.
Excellent. So, Patrick, you're in Switzerland. You are a paraglider, and you're doing as well windsurfing and I think trail running. And yes. And like Nina, everything started when you were young. So there is an expression, I love that you say, I was practically born with the paraglider, with one on my cradle. Can you tell us a bit about that story?
Yeah, actually, paragliding is not a very old sport. So they started in the middle of the 80s with paragliding, and my parents, they really started early too. So I actually grew up in this paragliding scene, and there are some pictures from my parents, which I was sitting already in a young age in those harness where we sit and fly with it. And yeah, so I grew up on the landing field. I saw the paragliding, how they fly. And yeah, so that's how that began.
Nice. There's a quote that I quote you. You were drawn, to the clouds. Why? What's happening up there? Why were you, when you started, you say, that's it, I'm hooked?
Yeah, that was my first flight. Paragliding, you start just on a small hill and you try to keep your glider over your head, and then you make maybe a flight of 10 meters, really small jumps, and you feel how the glider takes you. And then actually the really big first high flight was in April 2010.
Yeah,
was 6:15 or 16, something like that. And yeah, it was a small cloud layer in the front of the takeoff, but you saw through it a bit. So we was allowed to take off, and that was kind of special because you take off, you fly like against towards a wall, and then the light is really smooth in this small cloud, and then you come out of this cloud and you see everything under it, and you can watch the trees, the houses, and everything is so far. So yeah, from this point on, I knew, yeah, that's something what I want to do in the future, because before I was doing already a lot of skiing and also competing in alpine skiing, and which was fun too, but the paragliding had something special, which, yeah, is since today is already today, every time when I go in the air, it's still the same. It's really cool when you leave the ground, and this weightless feeling, it's something, for me, something special.
Nice. Craig, when you're ready, let's see a bit about that weightless feeling that you're talking about.
What about a hit? What about a hit of your love? Start to shake with your hand. Will it ever click? Will it ever click? Are you a freak? You turn and face me. Maybe this time I'll choose. What about a hit? What about a hit of your love? Start to shake with your hand. Will it ever click? Will it ever click? Are you a freak? You turn and face me. Maybe this time I'll choose. What about a hit of your love?
Aber nennt mich nicht Personalismus. Okay.
Maybe this time I'll choose. What about a hit of your love? Start to shake with your hand. What about a hit of your love?
Magic moments. Is that what inspires you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, because with the paraglider, you can be on very special places, like when you fly the whole day over 10, 11 hours through our whole country, and then at the last light in the evening, catching up the last terminal where we can climb up to the top of the terminal and then fly to that place where you started 10 hours before. That's something really special. And yeah, in this clip there was plenty of those moments, which takes me every time out and go again in the air.
You said the adventure begins when the familiar ends. That's exactly where I'm drawn. That's where I want to go. Is there a bit of curiosity in what you're doing? Like, not a bit, but a lot of curiosity of pushing your limits and trying to find out what's after, what's next?
Yeah, I think there are 2 points, like in those races which we do, the Red Bull X Alps, when we travel over 10 days, 17.5 hours in a day. So we do travel the whole Alps by foot and paraglider. So we do in a day, we do like walking a marathon plus 3,000 high meters in average, and fly 6-7 hours. So there you have really know your own limits, that you be safe. And then of course in the training you try to find those limits in a safe area, and you always try to push as hard as possible to the limits, otherwise you have no chance to compete in the front. That's one thing where you have to know your limit. And the other thing is, of course, of my work as a test pilot, you every day you're on trying to go on the limit for the gliders, to have safe gliders for the paragliding community, because later on when we say, okay, the glider is good, then we sell those gliders, and the paragliding community, they will buy these gliders, which they have to be safe for the others, which means that we have to go to the limit as well. And then it's like I grew up kind of new paragliding like model. In 2010, they changed. There was a new area of paragliding of gliders, which a bit too complicated to explain that. But I grew up with those new gliders, which I was able to push quite harder and do much more things, and you can fly really close to the ground. You have more energy, more performance, and which allows you to do some great stuff. And there, like, I started very early, and I saw very good paragliding pilots, what they do, and then I became the same level, but I was maybe a bit younger, and I was able to push a bit more. And so that was, like, for me, super interesting to push with those kind of new wings to the limit too.
And you finished second in 2021, so last year, in the Red Bull X Alps. You touched on what was special about it, but why do you go to that event? What is so special about?
That's the adventure. You start in Salzburg in Austria, and you have a route from 1,300 kilometers in front of you, which you only allowed to travel by foot and with the paraglider. And together with the great team, to try to be as fast as possible in the goal. That's something really cool. And you never know where you end up at the end of the day, if you are really out in the wild or if you are somewhere in the middle of the city. So it's really the adventure which I like, and that's that kind of races.
Nice. So what's next for you? You said, I want more. I want to go to new spheres. What are these new spheres? Is it? I understand you're doing your helicopter pilot license as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's actually like now I was competing a lot in different kind of those races. And the Red Bull X Alps is every second year, so it will be not this year, it will be 2023. So we are already in the preparing for the race in 2023. But we have also some video projects which I want to do, which takes a lot of time. But I'm really motivated to do some nice stuff, which maybe we are able to inspire other people to go out in nature, to take their adventure too, and see the nice things on the mountains. And so that will be a big part of 2022.
Another biking and gliding with the bike again, or?
Something like that.
Something like that. And what about catching up with Nina when she comes to the Alps, to Courchevel, and you can do skiing and.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure if I will jump down those ramps, and maybe with the paraglider I will be more. Yeah, I
Is it
think that will
possible?
be something.
Is it possible to do it? That's my question. I don't want to throw you a challenge. You do whatever you want, but is it possible to jump and kind of glide? Or...
Yeah, what you can do, we have in my hometown where I grew up, there is also a ramp like this. They do the same there. And sometimes we land very close there. So I was already trying to push really down where you make the speed and fly over the ramp. So yeah, with a very small wing, you have the same blade ratio, like the angle of the downhill, and over the ramp you can, I think you can do, but it's like will be really tricky. And of course, I think the exit will be not big enough. You will fly out of the exit maybe.
Well, it's a challenge.
Wait, where are you from, actually? Which town are you from?
Actually, I'm from Frutigen, but the ramp is in Kandersteg. It's
yeah.
A really, yeah. So there.
Yeah, I jumped there. It's such a beautiful area. You're right in the middle of the mountains, and
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Did you jump in the winter or in summer there?
Both. I was there. Yeah, I was there this summer. The weather there is crazy. Like, I remember we were there for 4 days, and that was my first trip there. And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's so beautiful." And it was all foggy and like raining every day. And then on the last day, it opened up, and I was like, "Oh wow, okay, now I understand."
Yeah. So yeah, this ramp will be maybe possible to do some funny stuff. Yeah.
Well, Nina, it's up to you guys. Finally, Patrick, suspended. What comes to mind when you hear that word, suspended?
Yeah, it's really hard to say. Like Nina told it already, when I can't or I dream, but I sleep that deep, so I'm not able to remind what I was dreaming of. So yeah, it's really hard to say.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Burning question: when you fly like that for all day for 10-12 hours and you come down to the ground, is it like the boat sensation, when you go out on a boat and you come back to the ground, you're like,
no,
you feel like the ground is moving? Is there any sensation of being lighter or being no
because the way is quite long until you're able to fly 10-11 hours.
Yeah.
So maybe you do the first hour, then the first 2 hours flight. So you really know the feeling already and you get used to it. So no, it's not like on a boat.
Cool. Thank you so much, Patrick. You're staying with us?
Thank you. Yeah, until at my time 10:30, then I have to go.
Okay, no, not a problem at all. Before we go to you, Romeo and Linden, the Farr group, would like us to listen and to watch one of your music video, which is Paranoid.
I ain't slept in days, I think my body hates me. Smoke another cigarette to kill the time. It's hard to keep your breath up when your heart is racing. Harder yet to keep up when it's in your mind. If I fight back, they gon' bite back. I'ma lose it, yeah. And I don't like that, want my life back. I didn't choose this. When they see me, think they know me. It's a front, yeah. I got this? Am I wrong in giving up? Oh, maybe I'm a little bit paranoid of this world I'm living in. I guess I'm just a little bit hesitant. Oh, and this is it. It's serious. It's getting rough in this world I'm living in. I guess I'm just a little bit paranoid. Oh, I don't trust a soul. It's like I'm going crazy. And lately I've been towing on the line. These voices in my head, they've just been sitting waiting, just so they can hit me when I'm blind. If I fight back, they gon' bite back. I'ma lose it, yeah. And I don't like that. Want my life back. I didn't choose this. Nah, nah, nah. Maybe I'm a little bit paranoid of this world I'm living in. I guess I'm just a little bit hesitant. Oh, and this is it. It's serious. It's getting rough in this world I'm living in. I guess I'm just a little bit paranoid. Oh, chasing trees that drag my bones. Nah, 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 nah. Blind walking backwards down this road. Nah, nah, nah. I ain't got nowhere left to go. 'Cause I'm paranoid and trying to keep control. Nah, 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 nah. Maybe I'm a little bit paranoid of this world I'm living in. I guess I'm just a little bit hesitant. Oh, and this is it. I'm serious. It's getting rough in this world I'm living in. I guess I'm just a little bit paranoid. Oh.
Wow, nice. What a voice, Romeo. Yeah. So,
Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you. So you guys met in 2016. I forgot to say that this video was recording. It was a live that you did, and between London and LA. So Romeo, you're in LA, Linden, you're in London.
Yep.
So you met in 2016. Can you tell us about when you met? What brought you together?
Yeah. So I was actually out on a trip writing in London, and we just by chance got set up in a session one day. It was one of the last ones on this trip, and we had a session together, and it just ended up kind of rolling into another session and another session and another session. We were like, all right, we should probably put out some music at some point. So we kept making some songs and whatnot, and
come up with a name.
Yeah, come up with the name, just something to constitute making music together. And it turned into Farr about a year and a half later, and the rest is kind of history.
And Farr, the name. So tell us about the name. How did you come up with that name? Is there a story?
So we spent a long time figuring out what we were going to do. We ended up with going the name simply because it means feels about right. Feels about right. So it was something just pretty straight ahead that felt natural.
And so
that's the real story.
Nice. Your influence, both. So I think you come from different backgrounds. So if you want,
go ahead,
Linden.
Sure. I mean, I grew up in London in the big melting pot of different styles. I played drums in bands. I DJ'd at one point. I grew up in the big sort of electronic, bass movement in the UK, and played drums in jazz big bands. So I was a bit all over the place, but all these influences being very kind of eclectic kind of joined together, and I'm sort of very open to all sorts of styles, and have my stuff that sort of feels natural to me, but I listen to a big spread of music, and that kind of that's something that me and Romeo connected on as well when we first met, was that we both just kind of like all different stuff. But yeah, the thing that we really deeply connected on is we both love soul music and amazing voices. That was something that we both connected on.
Nice.
Yeah, we both definitely like big voices and stuff. Me, I grew up kind of on a random one. My mom listened to a lot of R&B when I was growing up. My dad listened to a lot of soul music. They both listened to a lot of like Latin jazz. My mom listened to a lot of dance music, like a lot of like old house and stuff. And then I grew up playing violin for like 12 years classically, and viola. So I had a lot of heavy influence from like classical music in general. And then it kind of like evolved into a lot of blues and soul music, and a little too late in my life, I discovered D'Angelo, and that was kind of over for me. And then Linden and I met, and then after that, it just kind of, we both started influencing so much in each other's musical tastes and whatnot, just from trading music and teaching us each other new things and all this stuff. So it's been a very interesting, very broad musical upbringing for me.
And in terms of the process between you two and the creative process, who does what, or if Linden comes up with the music
it's all over.
Yeah, our process for the first album was a bit more straight ahead, in that Rome's doing a lot of the writing on his end on his own, and I was doing a lot of the production. And then we connect and sort of like pick apart each other's ideas and figure out a way to, find that middle ground where we're both always happy. Recently, Romeo's been spending a lot more time over the whole lockdown period producing. So there's now 2 producers.
And Linden's singing on the new album too. Which to be fair, he was singing on the last album as well. But it's like, I think the reason it feels about right, is that the whole progression of how we started and everything was just so natural and very like safe for our own kind of like personal growth and like exploration and whatnot. So like that has kind of allowed us to kind of explore different parts of our creativity in this environment, in this ecosystem that we've created. And it's definitely like allowed for a lot of like wider reaching kind of ideas and stuff like that to happen because of it. So it's been really sick. Nice.
Weightless, it's an album, but as well the song, and it was part of our cover at the beginning. I think it's a special song and album for you, Romeo, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about maybe Noah and just that song?
Yeah, I mean, we actually wrote that song much before. So basically, one of my best friends passed away. He was hit by a drunk driver about I'm lost track of the time. I think it's like 2 or 3 years ago almost now. And we had written this song probably a year prior to that, maybe a little less. And once we had kind of finished the whole album and kind of like listened through all the songs and stuff like that, there was kind of this through line of just like dealing with your emotions and dealing with your own like sanity and kind of coming face to face with your own mortality and the struggles of life and whatnot. And basically in listening to that song, we were trying to figure out, because we wanted to name the album that, and I was trying to figure out a visual element for it. And the visual element I ended up directing, and it became a tribute video to Noah. Because listening to it in hindsight, we realized so much that it connected to his story. He was really loving, incredibly kind, also fellow musician. But it was just the kind of concept that, loving and giving all you have to everybody around you while you have that time to be able to is just so important and so fleeting and whatnot. So we dedicated that song to him. We dedicated the album to him, and then obviously that short that we shot for him.
You say something, or I read something about the album is about Weightless is about the ability to escape into a world and calm your mind. And as we see the world around us hurting, we feel music is one of the most powerful remedies. I think that's beautiful.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Paranoid, what Paranoid is about.
Well, so I've had a funny love life. But aside from that, no, I mean, honestly, it was at the height of a lot of like political stuff that was happening. It was, I think, prior to the Trump years in America. But I was in the UK and some shit was going down, basically.
Yeah, just about freaking out around you.
Yeah, 100%. And there was some I think there was some personal stuff happening at the same time, and I was just losing my mind. And I think we sat in the hallway of Linden's studio, and I just started singing over him playing some chords on his organ. And yeah, that song is honestly probably one of my favorite songs. It was a really nice whirlwind as well to write, because we wrote the beginning of it and decided we were all right, we're just gonna make this whole song this weekend. And we were driving across London to a saxophone player's house and doing all this shit. And we were full send, we're just gonna do this and make it happen all this weekend. But yeah, no, that's basically what that's about.
Yeah.
We're gonna end the show with Magic. Do you want to talk about Magic? What is Magic?
Wait, really quick before we end the show. I've always wanted to paraglide, and that video was so sick. And also that skiing video was so sick. If I ever end up in that area, I will be reaching out, because I wanted to go my whole life.
Yeah, me too.
It's the live version of Magic, but yeah. We're gonna finish with it, but
like the live version of Magic. Magic was just an important song for us for finishing the album. It was one of the last songs that we worked on. And we just needed a piece of the puzzle that fitted in with sort of a new tone and just had a more somber tone to it that didn't have this sort of explosive thing where all the drums come in and it's this big sound. So yeah, Magic was the only sort of almost folk influence, very down tempo track on the album. And yeah,
also mostly recorded on iPhone.
Everything together. Yeah, we recorded so not on the version you're about to watch, but on the actual version on the album, the vocals are all recorded on an iPhone mic and the guitar. So we wanted it to feel really intimate, as if it's sort of a personal voice note, rather than a fleshed out production.
Suspended, the Kelly's cover. Mm-hmm. What does that mean for you, Suspended? What is it for you? For you too.
I mean, suspended for me is kind of, I don't know. We live in a world where, firstly, we are suspended in a lot of unknowingness and a lot of I feel like it's been a little purgatory-y recently, just in terms of the just constant revolution of just stuff happening in the world and stuff like that. So that, and then also, I mean, suspended in a kind of brighter way, I would say, is just staying above all of that and just kind of floating in the happiest places you can find. And that's kind of what Weightless was for us as well.
Yeah.
I was going to say, for me, it's that moment when we're actually creating music, when we're writing, when we're performing. For me, that is a bubble where I genuinely escape. And it's those moments when I'm inside the music while it's being created or while it's happening live that I do feel suspended. And then you come back down when you stop playing music.
Which was also so fascinating about watching that ski video that Nina,
it's a lot more literal,
was just it's really nice actually to speak to people who are in such vastly different areas of expertise than we are, because the kind of stillness that both of you guys have is so fascinating to me, because I'm an anxious wreck half of the time and have a very hard time calming down. And you guys just have this demeanor about you that's just so calm and kind of collected. And I would imagine that that's really, really important for what you guys do and kind of the amount of focus that all of that takes. So that suspension is very fascinating.
Did you just curious to know? Did you get any feedback from Kelly's from your cover from Suspended?
Yeah, she loves it.
Yeah, she's into it. She played it on Didn't she play it on BBC?
It was on the BBC, yeah. She played on the BBC radio a few weeks ago, and she's always sort of looking out for us, and we're like loosely in touch with her.
We were on tour with her for a minute, so we.
Oh yeah, you were one of them. Yeah. What's next? Live shows, album?
Live shows.
Yeah,
I'm going out to London
shows.
for 4 months, so lots of live shows.
Yeah. In London or in England, or you have a tour, or just
it will be announced, but there will be shows this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And new music.
Yeah, we're currently working on the second record at the moment. We've got loads of really cool stuff, and when Rome comes over this summer, we're going to really deep dive into finishing it all, and hopefully a couple of extra special ones will pop up.
Okay.
Exciting times.
Yeah, man.
Exciting time. So we will definitely follow you, and thank you so much for being on the show early this morning for you, Romeo and Linden. Well, that's it. I think we're coming to the end of the show. I think it was quite emotional sometimes, full of character and soulful, confirming that truly, really, truly spirit can fly. And you, my dear guest, you are beautiful souls. Thank you, Nina, Patrick, Linden, Romeo. As we say in French, bon vent, good wind, blessing for 2022. I'd like to give some special thanks to the listeners, but as well to Nick Myers at fastfriends.co, Farr Music, you two, Romeo and Linden, Cam Willis, Levi Turner, Alvin Basilio, my dear Kate Beth for the poster show, Karen Joe and Magic Craig. Next live show will be on the 25th of Feb, and it will be about endurance. Now to finish our show, we're gonna view and listen Magic by you guys Farr. Keep supporting us, following us. Ubuntu, thank you.
If we're gonna sail away, not to return again. If we're going old and gray, we'll make it in the end. If we're gonna crash and burn, we'll do it how we want to. Cause at least we had magic. Or at least we had magic. I was drowning at the surface, hung by a thread, and I never thought I'd make it up again. But I'm back up on my feet now, and hold up my chest, cause you multiplied the strength that I had left. If we're gonna sail away, not to return again. If we're going old and grey, we'll make it in the end. If we're gonna crash and burn, we'll do it how we want to. Cause at least we had magic. At least we had magic. All these moments on the moonlight, they make everything clear. Oh, I feel no more pressure when you're near, and everything is alright. Calm on my fears. Oh, I've waited my whole life to end up here. If we're gonna sail away, not to return again. If we're going old and grey, we'll make it in the end. If we're gonna crash and burn, we'll do it how we want. Cause at least we had magic. Oh, at least we had magic. restless mind, rest your soul. Stay right here, it's magical. If we're gonna sail away, not to return again.